Right, so I have returned once again today to actually deliver another stream of Bakemonogatari. She are good to go, actually no problems this time around. Unlike last time where my whole entire audio equipment just up and just stopped. But thankfully I actually have no problems this time around. So I actually have retouch cover episodes 3 plus 4 and maybe 5, who knows, all Bakemonogatari. As episodes 1 and 2 were once again really fucking good. As I have said, this is one of these shows I did actually want to come back to. Now, having done a lot more since I last watched it, actually get a better appreciation for it, and I kind of feel like I have. The entire way they actually looked at Senju Hara's past was actually really well done. The idea of actually how they utilized real world like people as the actual cultist and her mother was actually really well done. It kind of heightens this idea of like how almost otherworldly the entire thing is in comparison to the actual anime's world itself. So yeah, I do believe now actually heading to Hachikuji, there we are. I get her name right one day. Mayoi's actual arc. Hachikuji, there we are. Hachikuji's arc. So yeah, I do think this is where I actually stopped last time, if I remember correctly. So anyway, let's put on Twitter actually gone live. Before I forget to. If actually this time around I shouldn't have any problems at all. The whole entire thing. Because I do believe it's actually working fine now, at least. We actually are good to go, as I always say. It's actually going to show on the road. Actually start this thing in 3, 2, 1. Let's start this thing absolutely now. Conveniently enough, it actually is Mother's Day in March over here, actually. Surprisingly. Imagine if I actually got us directly on the day of Mother's Day as well, like what happened Lee Erickson Day in Vinland Saga back in the day. I do believe also this actually has to be one of the best anime episodes I've ever seen, because I remember I did actually really love this episode so much when I first watched it. Because literally it's just two people speaking. Also, he thought. No, he's alone. he's like, wait a second, hold up, oh. So yeah, I mean, this show is really kind of interesting. I don't feel like any of the actual directorial what's the word? Directorial directorial choices, that's the word I was looking for. Choices have actually aged at all. I kind of feel like, if anything, they've actually gotten better with time. Like, I know Shimbo after all. Shimbo is literally the man, the myth, the legend. Possibly still the the myth, the legend, who disappeared randomly and came back. But yeah, I mean, it's really good because, again, the idea of actually how to utilize the real world versus the anime world actually was one of those things that is quite novel. Because it doesn't really so much break the fourth wall, it so much actually kind of gives us a different way to view the entire thing with Senju Hara. Instead of actually viewing it in a normal kind of like exaggerated way, instead we actually got an exaggerated way in the use of anime as a medium, rather than, say, if they wanted to personify the cultist as someone like a monster or anything like that. And utilizing the idea of real-world people in the context of an anime, it gives it that kind of monstrous effect, because again, we understand that the world is 2D or 3D. It's not our version of 3D. So once you kind of actually get to a very different degree of like, wait a minute, what you meant to actually kind of like decipher here gets quite interesting. I have no idea why. It's like minus one outside. I'm actually getting like allergies for some reason. I'm still locking in my choice being best girl being Hanekawa. I'm still locking in my choice. Senju Hara's like just there, slightly less. She's like tie number one. He's like, I came here to vibe, not to have a philosophy lesson. The one thing I've actually always wanted to know, who designed this place? It's so confusing. It's like the shaft way of designing architecture. It's like your brain's just like, wait a minute, how is that even possible? It's like it's a mixture of like Frank Lloyd Wright and I don't know. If I remember correctly, it's actually like two different like merry-go-rounds that go around it. Man, this scene is so goddamn good. Oh. Oh. A paradigm shift. So I don't actually see very utilized very often nowadays. I always kind of imagine to myself like no human can make that neck angle that I like is actually making right now. You'll break your neck if you did that. He's got friend zoned. That's the sort of thing that you get up and you actually just don't know how to get back down without actually breaking the leg. Colon. He's like, I'm no pervert. Immediately stares at her ass. I swear I just read the word colon cleaning. Oh, like he just came here to vibe. Actually, now he's just getting vibe checked. This poor boy. I love how the actual the pedal things, whatever they're called, are literally just two pieces of beef. Until he just ran away. Literally. There's a kind of a sense like the camera's basically not as much as like voyeuristic. Hello, 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 how's it going? Not as it's voyeuristic, but it kind of feels like you're actually a part of the world as well. It's kind of like how Hyoka does it. Hyo Hyouka does it. It kind of has the exact same effect. It kind of feels like you're almost like a fly in the wall kind of thing. I'm doing pretty good today. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. How are you? He's just got to the point of being like, you know what? I won't get vibe checked. I'll vibe check myself instead. Well, actually, I hope I actually get some good rest though, because I almost fell asleep like 3 times earlier on today. I was like, man, I am drained. But thankfully, I actually got a good coffee and actually woke up. Huh. Well, you know, I didn't know about that. Sorrow marriage? Is that a thing? It's actually Aaron behind me. There's no better, Aragi. There's actually no better. It's like, yeah, by the way, don't say I'm into that one thing, but say I'm into the worst one. It's like, God, can't get yourself out of that one, can you? I should have actually bought Levi at some stage. I actually forgot to. That's kind of cute in a very abstract and actually very roundabout way. GF? Getting a GF? What do you mean, anime? Can't believe they actually mentioned the word GF in one anime. Like, as if you actually canon free get yourself a GF. As if. Well, I guess he did in theory just get completely just disregarded instantly. This entire show is basically it is. It's also very good. It's also very long. I mean, I like it's kind of like, yeah. So I wanted to see what was the issue. So instead what I did was I just smack you from behind on your head into the goddamn wall. That's that. There you go, I guess. Poor dude can't actually go 1 second without being vibe checked instantly. Instantly. We still can't disregard the entire plot thread that he did him through to smack her into the wall. I can't believe he actually got hit so hard he actually turned into 60s animation. I love how his inner monologues are like, yeah, what a dick. To himself. He's like, yeah, why is he doing that? Central High just walks in like, what the fuck, man? What have you done here? she looked and went, dude. There we go. It's been said. There it is. Mayoi Snail. Man, this show is fucking wild. God damn it. This show's wild as hell. So yeah, by the way, main character literally just fought an elementary school child and actually felt proud afterwards. I like how his like outer voice is like, yeah, and his inner voice is like, oh shit, what have I done? It's just one of those memes. It's one of those memes of like, I don't know, what meme is it? It's a meme that's like, what? It's on the outside, he's like, yeah, but on the inside, he's kind of, oh shit. It's a meme just like that. I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, I mean, as an episode, if you look at it from a critical standpoint, what exactly happened? Like, it was basically the most nonsensical episode the whole of like all of anime practically, because it was literally just about two people speaking, and then out of nowhere Hachikuchi arrives. Well, not out of nowhere, she was there the whole entire time, and then the entire thing starts to unravel from there. But at the same time, why is this episode so good? The episode's so good because the dialogue is actually so sharp that it can literally be about two people speaking to one another, and it wouldn't get boring. And what actually doesn't really help as well is the actual direction behind it is fantastic. It's actually it's probably one of the best episodes of like absolutely nothing happening I've ever seen in my life. Don't get me wrong, I've actually seen episodes like this beforehand. The idea of literally nothing happening. But it's always kind of felt like it's just like, oh yeah, nothing's happening essentially. But at least here, for the most part, what it does do well is that it kind of heightens everything else around it. So it kind of feels a lot more as in like, it's a lot more enjoyable. I need to sneeze. I need to sneeze really badly and I can't sneeze. I had the exact same problem as last time. So I do believe I actually got to Mayoi Snail Part 2 beforehand. Oh, need to Oh shit! What happened? We're fine. I'm not used to players anymore. Players get really weird when it comes to like keyboard shortcuts. Come on, no sneeze. I can't sneeze. God damn it. Alright, let's watch episode 4 then. What time was it anyway? 19:15. We might be able to do episode 5 as well, hopefully. Nope, wrong one. I wanted the actual link to the episode. Alright, I do believe with that we should be good to go. And I'll complete screw everything up. God damn it. Right, so let's continue. Let's watch episode 4 in 3, 2, 1. Let's watch episode 4 absolutely now. Great. Just realized I didn't do the thing that happened last time, and now I've actually done the thing beforehand, and it's completely ruined something, but it's fine. But yeah, I mean, essentially, the episode itself was basically like legitimately looking at the whole entire like episode itself from a critical standpoint. You can tell like nothing like of like massive happens. Like it's not like a cataclysmic change in the narrative. It doesn't push anything forward so much as it just introduces Hachikuchi's character, and also then at the same time, what it does in 3D is actually bring out the nuances in the characters. In essence, we've seen a more of a very different side of Senju Kohara's character, as well, the more playful banter side of her. And what this does in 3D, it kind of creates this more interesting dynamic between the two of them, because again, we already had a dynamic with them, episode 1 and 2. But I kind of feel like episode 3 kind of did in 3 actually bring it to the forefront, actually kind of allowed us to see completely who they truly are as people, and actually how they see one another. Because of that, to an extent, it actually was a very important episode. Actually probably one of the best ones, because again, as I said beforehand, what it doesn't do in narrative, it makes up for in dialogue, and actually then in camera work. How to utilize the idea of actually like locking Aragi into the corner, making him seem less important in the world he's currently in, versus Senju Kohara, who's very much more important, or has a more elevated look at her own self, versus Aragi, who constantly says basically, yeah, I'm lame, I get rejected all the time, and nothing good happens. So again, I like that whole entire idea. It's really well done. I hate my nose so goddamn much. I want to stream, and sometimes I just can't sneeze. So when I can't sneeze, my nose just kind of starts to block up completely. It's horrible. It's still very much more apparent in this episode as well, the idea of actually how they frame Senju Kohara versus how they frame Aragi's character. It's quite interesting. I quite like it. I feel it's actually one of the more interesting things this show does do as well. I know Shaft does it quite often. Shaft's always done the whole entire idea of like elevating importance in characters using camera work rather than dialogue, or actually then through second-hand dialogue, I guess. Second-hand dialogue? Or yeah, I guess second-hand dialogue, to be honest. Basically, dialogue that actually talked about by another person about said person, rather than the actual, I guess, third person. That's the best way to describe it. Third person. It's like also you at least see like his hair as well in the actual shots as well, rather than his whole entire body. And that in itself tells you more information than say dog actually does. That's why I always say camera work and dialogue actually is important. He's also getting konnichiwa, genki desu ka? Also, hi gozaimasu. I love how he's literally getting vibe checked by an elementary school child as well. he can't go 1 second without getting vibe checked completely. I didn't change the actual thing. Fuck. Just realised that. Man, he actually can't go 1 second of actually being vibe checked completely. Man, I actually can't imagine living without Google Maps back in 2009. It must have been a pretty interesting time to live. And now they're lost as well. I actually do wonder whether or not like his hair has a mind of its own. Like it's actually sentient. Oh, like he's just there like, fuck. Oh well, you don't you just hate it when you're actually like, bruh. Don't you just hate it when you're like, bruh? Yeah, all the time. Well, there you go. Especially it's based on a real urban legend, if I remember correctly. Just goes to Oshino. Like, Oshino, what the fuck is happening? So check it, sort the shit out. He did the thing. He's done the thing. He's done the shaft neck. He's a shaft man. Seriously, I actually do wonder how the hell they actually can pull that off. Because even if I like tilt my neck like a centimeter, it just cracks. Because I actually have bad bones, I don't know, but I can do that. That's about it. Even that was painful. He just realized that yes, yes, doing this is not a good idea. It's best go. Oh no. Oh no. I'm glad Hanako's actual first reaction was, why is this girl, why, who is this girl, and not why she passed out? Well, thank God I didn't free say, yeah, by the way, don't do that. Don't do that, dude. And as I always say, Hanako actually is best girl. Twas at that point Hanako actually discovered something new. So what the hell is yaoi? It's like only God's gift to mankind. Without yaoi, we actually wouldn't have yaoi hands. Oshino just kind of like, man, I just want to sleep. Just let me sleep. God damn it, I just want to sleep. I actually still can't believe the actual glow up he actually gets in the actual manga. More than he already has. Man gets a glow up, like instant glow up. It's impressive. Don't you just hate it when you're trying to have a conversation with someone and actually they appear on your phone? Which is actually literally how the world works nowadays. Basically, in the end, Oshino is basically saying, I just want to sleep, leave me alone. It's piss off, mate. Piss off. That Tetris game's giving me anxiety. just watching that Tetris game's giving me anxiety. Every single move was like, oh no, he's done it, he's done the wrong one. I have zero idea what any of those two things are. I do believe as well, because I know this anime technically actually is to a large degree like untranslatable, because it's one of those ones that has a very interesting way of dialogue. So no translation is exactly the same, basically. So it's technically, like in other shows, was actually a 100% translation of it. With Bucket, it's kind of like everyone has their own way of like translating it. That's basically why I say it's untranslatable to that extent. But what this actual anime does in theory do also, which is actually quite interesting, is actually does in theory teach you quite good Japanese. So it's actually, in turn, while also being kind of quite hard to translate, is also quite a good study tool. If that makes any sense, what I just said. Because practically speaking, actually I have learned quite a bit thus far. In a anime that I always hear that, yeah, you can't really translate Bakemonogatari at all. I'm like, I can see that. It does have, it's I don't know, because I haven't seen anything else that actually has the exact same effect. Like, the actual dog itself is so, like, particular that it's actually really hard to actually get a full, like, translation without translating, say, literally or wrongly. It actually doesn't very happen sometimes. But at the same time, it does actually teach you quite good Japanese as well. So I actually have learned some things in between. But yeah, I mean, episode itself, get back on topic, actually was really good. Again, it's one of those episodes that it has propelled the narrative forward, so to speak. But at the same time, what this show does do as well, like, it just, no single scene feels like it's wasted. Like, in a way, half the episode was literally about going to this one place and then finding out the truth about Mayoi. Once you actually find out the truth about her, you're like, oh shit. But the whole entire first half of the episode actually literally is just them walking. But again, at the same time, you don't really care so much, because at the same time, it is... I did actually change it. I thought I was watching episode 5. I just realised that just now. Holy shit. No, it's one of those things that this anime has a really good way of actually just propelling things forward using the most meaningful things, which again is something not seen all the time. You don't see the idea of like dialogue being a very key component of a show unless it actually is the key component of a show. Like, for the most part, it's not. For the most part, it's not like, say, I don't know, what another example can it be? Way of Listen to Me, for example. Way of Listen to Me, the dialogue itself is the key component of the actual entire show, and the way that Miyanaru actually delivers it. So the actual dialogue has to be really sharp, otherwise it loses all meaning, essentially. The same thing applies here. The dialogue itself is literally the most key component of this whole entire show that actually helps you understand what's actually kind of being propelled forward and actually what you need to know for the future as well. It's very key to actually the entire show. Without this dialogue actually being here, without this dialogue actually being as sharp, technically the whole entire show falls apart. Because the whole entire show, besides the actual animation and direction itself, hinges on actually the good dialogue itself, because a lot of the things are propelled forward because of it. So instead of the narrative actually being what dictates the thing going forward, how it happens in other shows, though granted still instances of other shows don't do the exact same thing. Instead, actually, the dialogue itself is what drives the narrative forward. So it actually is kind of the key component. So again, the show being this witty, this kind of very sharp, this very kind of intriguing, it draws you in. And then the actual animation helps also then draw you in even further. So again, it's stuff like this you don't see very often. That I actually kind of like it. I like it because you don't see it very often. It's one of those things I just want to see. I want to see more shows do this kind of thing, because it's actually really goddamn cool. But anyway, let's actually watch episode 5. I thought I didn't change it, but I actually realised I was actually watching episode 5. Well, actually was episode 4, I mean. It's one of those days where I'm like, wait a minute, did I do it wrong? No, I didn't do it wrong in the end. Holy shit, I did it right. Right. That is good to go, I believe. Hope. Yes, it most certainly is. Everything else is working as usual. It most certainly is. So as I always say, let's get a show on the road. I don't understand why YouTube actually says I need to use keyframes of 6 seconds or more. I don't understand what that even means, bro. But anyway, let's start this thing in 3, 2, 1. Let's start this thing absolutely now. I might in theory, thank you. I might, in theory, actually change this around to Friday before Jutsu Kaisen. I might. I might flip it around. I'm not too sure yet. It depends. That smile is terrifying. I like it's kind of like, wait a minute. She's not a, you know. But yeah, I mean, once again, this show is like one of a kind essentially. I believe all Shaft shows are like this, though. This one more especially. I think this and Sangatsu are like the key, like the key Kino of understanding Shaft's like craft in a way, because again, both shows rely on dialogue and then also camera work to actually kind of propel things forward. Without those two key components in those two shows, everything else falls apart. Though Sangatsu less so. I think Bakemonogatari does actually have the upper hand that, again, other things do in theory complement it as well. But again, the dialogue itself is like a very key component of the whole entire idea. And the way it kind of delivers it is very kind of cool and interesting. I quite like it. It doesn't really feel like, it doesn't feel like characters speaking. It feels like people speaking to one another, rather than, say, like two anime characters speaking to one another. And that's actually kind of key as well. Again, as I've always said, it's really hard to kind of pull off that realistic dialogue in a way. And I guess that's why Nisou Isin, I believe, Nisou Isin is actually quite good at doing that whole entire idea. Like, all his work doesn't really have that kind of feeling to it. It feels like it's written by someone who's writing people rather than characters. So to an extent, maybe that's why it kind of feels like possibly like a translation of this whole entire anime. It's not 100% because it is like real people speaking to one another in a way, I guess. Possibly. So yeah, I believe we'll do like an arc per stream. So last time we did Hitagi Crab. This week we did Mayoi Snail, and I guess next we would do the Suruga one. Is it Suruga? We'll do the next one. And then everything changed. He reached rebellion stage of his life. Oh no. Oh no. God damn it, Aragi. I feel like he's the Ben Mendelsohn meme from Rogue One. Like, we're this close to greatness. It's just like with him sometimes. You're like, we're just this close. Oh. Oh. So also one thing to show as well, the characters can't sit still. They're worse than me. I can't sit still for more than 5 seconds, and they can't either. At one scene, I'm like, oh, I'm sitting down. Next minute, I'm upside down. Next minute, I'm sideways. Well, this is kind of... We went from very questionable inner monologues to well, shit. What the fuck do I do? What the fuck do I do next with how to apologize to my sisters? That's quite a transition in tone. I once again really do appreciate how the show does do this as well. Again, the idea of actually how they present Hachikuji's actual mother and father, how they utilize the idea of real people once again. It kind of heightens this idea of actually how abstract the actual concept was to her. Instead of saying, oh shit, I didn't really know my parents, or I didn't really like my parents, or I saw my parents constantly fighting, though she does say it, they don't choose to actually kind of frame it that way. They frame it in the sense like they use real world people, because real world people in the context of an anime is completely different. That's a really obvious thing to say. It's different in the sense like it's complete alien to the world they're currently in. Like how, say, we had a 3D, like how, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, how it had both 2D and real people in it. How it felt really, really like kind of jarring, and actually how it kind of creates that sense of jarringness just from that one idea. Same thing applies here, but the other way around. That's why I kind of really do like how they're doing for utilize the real world essentially in this anime. It's alien to them rather than to us. And it kind of heightens this idea of actually how distant they are. There we go. Konbanwa, Genki desu ka? Also, ohayou gozaimasu. Essentially, what she's saying is, essentially what she's saying is the Emiya meme. It's because you're right doesn't mean you're actually correct. So I actually do like how the idea is that they actually unravel the mystery through Dolok once again as well. It's actually kind of cool. Though I still do think, if I remember correctly, Hachikuji's actual like mystery is based off a real urban legend. That was a really awkward thing to explain as well, to be honest. Ah. 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 That's clever. Because actually, there is no discourse with her mother because we know what happened to her mother. It's probably why she didn't actually see her. The reason why Hanekawa can see her, as he says, she actually is caught up in Discord at home. And the same thing applies with Aragi as well. He doesn't give up. Again, it's things like this that actually bring out nuances in the characters. It's important. It's stuff like this that without it, it would never work so well. The show would be as impactful. I guess it also is quite interesting how it actually is almost a 180 of episode 1 and 2. Uh-huh. Again, it's quite interesting though because it doesn't. It did. We did allude to in episode 3 about the idea of like things changing, and actually, what does in 3 dictate when things like that begin to change. Like, I quite like how it almost did in some degree come full circle. Instead of there being a home to actually for her to go back to, which 9 out of 10 times does though sometimes in other legends I think it does actually kind of go the exact same way, how it is, theoretically speaking, an empty space. But it's quite interesting how here it does actually kind of end with it being an empty space, how it has in theory actually kind of developed beyond being a home. It kind of hurts because it actually is like no place she goes back to, it's just an empty spot, but at the same time, I guess it's the memories of that previously that kind of still exists. Which I guess is actually quite interesting. That actually is the kind of vibe they're going for. The idea that the legend still lives on even though it's not there anymore. Stuff like to Hachikuji, it means the world to them. He's like, what? Oh, interesting, I'd argue. Again, even though, yes, it's a questionable lad, because he is, to a degree, he does have that sense of sincerity to him that you kind of just like, God damn it sometimes. It actually is quite interesting to a degree. For the end of it felt like the end of the show. It feels like the show's actually ended. Even though we're episode 5. So we haven't ended. How that man did not get a broken bone is impressive. Oh, I mean, I understand why he won't get a broken bone, but you know what I mean. So it's Suruga Monkey. It's Suruga. Is it, what's the name of the episode title called? Oh, it actually gets to the next episode. I can actually find out. Yeah, Suruga Monkey next time. I thought it was. I was like, wait a minute, I swear it is. But yeah, anyway. I once again say that this show actually is relentlessly really fucking good. Relentlessly really fucking good. It's a really weird, description, but yeah, it is really fucking good, the show. Again, as I said beforehand, what this show does do really damn well is it allows the actual world and characters and dialogue actually kind of dictate what happens. Rather than let a narrative actually kind of dictate this, that, and this has to happen, rather it allows the actual world to kind of feel like, okay, this is what's happening, and this is what we've got to figure out, this is how we're going to do it. And I kind of like that more often than, say, other ways of doing it. My British just really came out just then. I like it better than other ways of doing things, because otherwise it kind of makes it feel more impactful. The entire thing with Hachikuchi's actual character feels more impactful because, again, you understood it because of actually because the world is actually allowing all these things to take place, rather than say, okay, the narrative actually has to say this has to happen at one point, and this happens next, and this happens after. No, you understand it because the characters are unraveling the mystery as well. And as I said beforehand, Araki does have a very questionable part about him, which is very, very questionable, to the point you kind of like, Araki, please don't do that. But at the same time, there is that bit of him you kind of like. It's just that it's that sincerity in him. You kind of like, all right, lad. Like, it's kind of annoying because, again, it's one of those things that some things he does breaks the immersion of the world itself. Though some people have actually call it deconstruction of the entire thing. I have no idea just yet. It's still early days. Actually, kind of make my own assumptions. But on first impression, again, he has that very questionable nature about him. But at the same time, he kind of counteracts that by being a genuine person sometimes. And it kind of is a refreshing character to an extent. Because otherwise, you're not technically meant to like him. The show's not specifically telling you to do that. It's not making his actions justified. It's not telling you that, because even his inner head's voice literally says, "Why the fuck am I doing this?" all the time. That's the kind of distinction the show doesn't fully have, is that it allows the character to kind of reflect on his own actions and then go, "Oh fuck," essentially. The other show I've actually seen is, I've probably ever seen us do that, but again, it's the other way around. Is what's the name of that show? Jobless Reincarnation. But that's the other way around, because the world says you can't do this, rather than him realizing he can't do it at that point in time. But this is the other way around. This is the kind of correct way, I would say, of doing it. Allowing the actual world to say, yeah, you shouldn't be doing this, and then the characters say you shouldn't be doing this, and then him saying he shouldn't be doing this. Because at that point, it kind of allows then everything to actually kind of feel more like, yeah, he's realized he's made a mistake, rather than the narrative actually saying he has to feel like he's made a mistake at this point. If you get what I mean. That's the distinction the show does have. It kind of allows him to realize what he's doing wrong. Though maybe he does in theory actually fix it, I have no idea at this point in time. We have to wait and see. But at the same time, it's refreshing to see a character actually kind of have that inner monologue about himself constantly, because it gives you two perspectives on his character. It gives you the outer and the kind of like the very what's the word? I can't think of the word. Like the very reflexive character as well. Both kind of make a very interesting combo, and actually is quite interesting to see how this show does develop that whole entire idea. But again, really, overall, the episodes were fantastic. The whole entire arc was great. Again, I like the use of the real world as well, because again, it kind of heightens a sense of mystery, a sense of distance between the characters, the subjects and the subjects and the other subjects as well, because again, there's two subjects in this context, subjects being the ones in the anime and the ones that are kind of defined to be real people, and that kind of creates that sense of distance immediately, and actually is quite effective. And yeah, I mean, everything else the show doesn't really do, it does fucking amazingly. Like, the actual world is amazing, the actual dialogue itself is great, the actual use of camera work is fantastic as well. It's all just all around really fucking good so far. So I actually can't wait to see what this show does next. So with all that said, I have indeed been the driver. So as always, gochicho arigatou gozaimasu. Boku no dogo wo moshiroi to omotara ine ya channel toruku wo onegaishimasu. So as always, actually have enjoyed this whole entire Shimon Dune Fury, leave a like, because indeed it's something quite a bit. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire Shimon Dune Fury, leave a sub, because indeed it's something quite a bit as well. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire Shimon Dune Fury, follow me on Twitter or join Discord as well, because both do help quite a lot, and both will then tell you when the streams go live and any other streams I do as well. It is my pleasure, and thank mite kurete arigato as well. Thank you for stopping by and watching. Thank you so much. But next time, some more Bakemonogatari. I'll see you guys then. Bye for now.